2005 was my first session.
Okay. And what is the thing you feel like you feel best about it accomplishing?
My very first bill was kind of cool. It was aimed at reining in government. It was aimed at trying to reduce administrative rules and at least bringing to light how much those rules would cost business. Right now, when we pass laws, we have to know what the fiscal impact on an agency is on the state. Well, when we do rules now, they're supposed to pass it or figure out the fiscal impact on the businesses they're impacting. But in addition to that, we're supposed to do a 5-year review of the rules every 5 years and make sure that they're doing the thing that they're supposed to do. And guess what? Oregon hasn't been doing that. And so one of my lessons that I've learned is that I'm thinking Oregon is probably one of the biggest lawbreakers in the state, perhaps. I don't know. And yeah, without, they break laws all the time. Just because it's a statute and they're supposed to follow it doesn't mean they do. So I learned that lesson. But I also, because of that, was able to get together with some Democrats, Democrats, and pass a transparency bill so that we can shine some more light on the activities of state government and the spending and revenue. Show people, here's what's happening.
And that passed?
It passed back in 2009, and we've been adding to it. In fact, for the first year that we passed it, we were rated with a D as far as transparency, and recently, a week or two ago, we are up to an A-.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so if we want to know what's going on, then what website do we go to?
Oregon.gov/transparency, or just you can do a search and just look for Oregon Transparency. It'll come up. Public meeting notices are in there. It'll bowl you over how many public meetings there are just at the state level dealing with agencies, boards, and commissions, and others. But it's just amazing. There can be hundreds, literally, unique meetings having to do with policy making, potentially coming up with legislation that will come before us, legislators. It's amazing.
You support Bill?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For your job? And so tell me about your issues. What's important to you?
The fact that she just talked about transparency, I was just talking to somebody about that the other day, and that is something, if I were elected, I swear, and assuming she's elected, I will probably run across that rotunda over to her office and say, let's put something together on transparency again. That's just something I would like to continue, this legacy that she started. Because as a person who was in the media watching that, what she got opened up with the transparency helped me. Because then I was able to go to a website and say, oh, what's going on with this bill or that session or whatever it was. It helped me a lot. So I'd like to continue that. So that's one thing,
That's great because you've already used it.
Yeah, it's come in handy for me. I've had people say, also like, how many terms would you want to be in? And it's like, well, wait, first I want to get elected. But I don't know if how you felt when you went in, but for me, the first session is learning, getting in, understanding where does that go and how does that, and then hopefully elected to a second term, that's when I really get in and do some things.
Yeah.
But in the first term, I think I'm going to be listening a lot, learning a lot. But absolutely, I have a strong base of principles that will be applied to everything. I intend to read as much as I possibly can. I think somebody said the other day there might have been 4,000 bills in a regular session.
Wow.
Nobody reads 4,000 bills. Nobody reads 4,000 bills. You read the bills that you're assigned to in your committee. And then you hope that somebody like Kim, who's over in the other committee, is doing the same, reading her bills, and then she and I can talk.
There's a lot of trust involved with that, because like you said, you can't possibly read them all, read everybody else's bills from their committee.
Is it up to the representatives, or, sometimes I wonder, like, let's say the Obama bill, let's say the infamous one, like, can a rep get an attorney to thumb through it? I mean, who else, is it up to the rep to read everything, or do they get the help to read some of this stuff?
Well, okay. I know that in the Republican caucus, I'm sure it's similar in the Democratic caucus, there are staff members, and they will review these bills. They will attend the committee meetings. They will take notes. They will do some background information or find background information on some of the issues that are especially hot topics. And we will discuss those things in caucus, and we will try to, try to figure out where we are. I mean, especially on some of the bigger issues that might be rolling out, like the PERS issue. I remember we were having daily updates when the Oregon Health Plan type bills were being discussed. We would have many discussions about what was happening. And it was, I'll be honest with you, it was hard to keep up with all the changes. It would change from one committee date on Monday to the Wednesday committee and to the Friday committee. It would be something completely different the
then you
following
have
Monday.
more to read, so you really depend on your
You
staff.
very much depend on staff and the members of that committee where they are actually vetting it. If you are not on that committee, you're kind of getting secondhand information. You can sit and read it, but I'll tell you, some of these bills are quite long.
Yeah.
And they do change quite often.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when we get feedback from people, listeners, and they might be talking about 3 iterations before where you are now. And so, it's important for listeners to know exactly.
Yeah, well, I've been curious, how does that really get done?
Well, and I think another thing that goes to one of the things, and again, she has the experience I don't, but I've watched from the outside, is the Republicans are the minority party in both houses right now. So Republicans are given the committees. You are assigned to your committee in the case of the House by House Speaker Tina Kotek.
No.
And she's not going to put Kim Thatcher on the best committee possible. She's going to put you...
Except I did get the committees I
I
asked
know,
for.
you did.
I did.
You did. I don't know how. I remember
did.
that happened. I was amazed.
Because
Normally, you get put-
strategically, they'd probably want to put you on the opposite of things that you really are passionate about. Like, if they're
No, you
anti-gun.
got
I got
wanted.
what I asked for.
Yeah.
Good
I
for you.
did. This
Good.
time.
But normally that doesn't happen, right? Normally you're assigned wherever the majority party puts you. So I imagine if I win, I'll be on probably the dog watching committee of some sort. I imagine.
have one.
Do
They
they have
might invent one.
They'll
Dog
invent one
watching,
just for me. Absolutely. The whack job right wing radio nut.
Okay, so you're a right-winger, like I am, and like Representative Thatcher is. Okay, so because we only have a few minutes left, actually, if you can believe it. It's not as long as your show. I don't go 3 hours.
You'd be amazed how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Just like this.
Okay, so life, Second Amendment, First Amendment. Where do you stand on some of these big issues? Obamacare.
Well, first of all, I like all the amendments. I like the whole Constitution.
You like the
US
entire Constitution?
and the
Okay.
Oregon Constitution.
Okay, so when you
And
swear
let's-
to protect the Second Amendment, you're actually going to mean
Yeah,
it.
the whole thing.
Okay.
Here, real quick, the Oregon Constitution, because this is a hot button issue, and that's marriage, the marriage issue.
Yeah.
People have asked me, where do you stand on this marriage issue, the gay marriage issue? Here's where I stand. In 2004, the people of Oregon, by about a 17-point margin, if I remember right, passed Measure 36, which defined marriage as between one man and one woman. It's an amendment to the Oregon Constitution. I take the Constitution very seriously. That's an amendment. It has nothing to do with love, hate, or anything else. It's an amendment to the Constitution by the people of Oregon. Now, if a guy in a robe down in Eugene decides to overturn that, I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah.
Now, what you can do in the legislature, I don't know. So I hope that tells you a little bit about my feelings. I get a little passionate, as you can tell.
Yeah,
A little fired
yeah.
up.
Okay, life.
Oh, absolutely. I'm endorsed by Oregon Right to Life. I'm the only candidate running right now in this district that's endorsed by Oregon Right to Life.
Okay.
I'm very pro-life. Life begins at conception.
Okay. How about the First Amendment? You're a radio guy. You like your free speech.
Absolutely, but also the freedom of religion, not freedom from religion,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
freedom to separate me. There is no separation of church and state. It's not in there.
There's that little prepositional word. Thank you for saying that. You know what? I even get guests that are completely right-wing, and sometimes they'll just throw out, separation of church and state, and it's just like, hey, wait, it's not there.
Danbury Baptist Church, Thomas Jefferson, go read your history, 1804. So,
All right, well, when you're on the radio 3 hours a day for 5 years, you're going to pick up a lot of information that's going to be just completely valuable for our state.
I hope so. I've learned a lot from her. She was my guest every Thursday, and I miss that a lot. But I learned from her a lot, a lot. And so I look forward to that. Her. Representative Kim Thatcher, sorry.
Well, when you're friends, I guess you can be on a first-name basis.
Yeah, but her, that...
Yeah,
sorry.
okay. Well, what else? I think we have 2 minutes. You're on the spot.
Me?
If you can talk for 3 hours, you can talk for
Oh,
2
I can
minutes.
talk for 2 minutes, easy.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I just think that Oregon is one of the most beautiful, incredible places to live on the face of the earth. That's why I'm here. I love Oregon, and I want to make a positive difference in people's lives. And I think the system is somewhat broken. Now, can one person change that? No. But one person with a few others that can gather together and band together, I think we can make a real change in the Oregon legislature. And that's what I'm looking forward to going in and doing.